Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. My name is Lee. Cheers. Okay. We're on. We're doing it. And it is 1:55. So much later than I should have, but the trip to the grocery store took longer and then I had to talk to one of my players in the game I run, but I think I did pretty good. I started before too. And you know what? Sometimes that's the best we got. So, welcome on in everyone. Uh yes. So, it is it is Wednesday. It is Greyhawk Day. It is also tournament. It's April. It's tournament. Game of Tomes writing tournament where we write a lot of stuffs, words, and things, and make that something we do. Yeah. There's it's a fun little project if you want to know more about it, and also if you don't know about Greyhawk, that's the Greyhawk wiki. We're editing it, but it has a lot of good information about the setting and um, beginner's guide to how cool our setting is, because Greyhawk is one of the fun settings. Hi, Anti-Product! Hey, welcome on in. Always fun. Seeing you a lot lately. Welcome. Um, Fun stuff. Okay, so it is Greyhawk Day. It is Wednesday. We are actually getting this stuff. Maybe. Trying to figure out a good. Actually, oh no, what we did is this, and then this, and no, trying to figure out how to make the PDF. I think that actually works really well. And then no, no, whatever that was, I don't know what that is. Did I lock the? I did. So this is hopefully the sound's good because you notice that actually when it isn't. No, that's good. Oh, actually, we could do a little bigger. Yeah, we could do a little bigger, and yeah, yeah, we could do that. It's fine. A little, and not ideal, but we'll make it work. Okay, so that is If It's Undying, our source book for Greyhawk. There are a lot of source books for Greyhawk, and um, we are going through this one. Specifically, it's information on North Province, which later became North Kingdom, because Grace Grenell, that's his title, is in your Grace like the king, decided to secede, and after Roxas went, that's the best way I can describe it, actually. After that happened with Roxas, no one cared, so they just let it become the North Kingdom. And then that was when Overking Zavener came and actually talked about that. But what I was gonna, because this book actually talks about his rise to power and the other nobles in the house vying for power, and how he was one of them, and then later, if you kind of look in later sources, he became the Overking. After of a smaller chunk of what was once the Great Kingdom, because North Kingdom went off and did its own thing. Relastra and the other Silmarillion Compact cities went off and did their own thing. But that is all of this. So, what we also need to do is go to New Window and bring up the Greyhawk Wiki. Greyhawk Online. Security verification. Yep, verification is successful. It knows I am a human. Excellent. So, Great Library Greyhawk. Here we go. Now I just have to make this smaller. Change that. Then we go to here. Open this up. There is a method to my madness. Great Library Greyhawk. And then we bump. And bump. Hey, there we go. Let me just scooch it over just a smidge. Perfect. And I move a little bit here, so I'm more in view. Wunderbar. So, we got our setup here. This is the Greyhawk Wiki. I need to do a few other things. It is, um, um, uh, um, okay. Trying to work with that. that is not our plan. Our plan was to go to Greyhawk Online, which is the Greyhawk Discord, um, and then point out to everyone. Um, it's beeping, isn't it? Somehow I've become a. Yes, afternoon has two O's and one N. Or two N's, but not three. Um, okay. Yeah. Alright. Let me do the stretch break. Oh. Alright. Well, so that's our usual Greyhawk test. I don't know. And yes, I agree. That works and done. You think that works? And again, if you're independent, when you're independent. Okay. All right. Um. Okay. Um. Okay. So. Um. Okay. Um. Okay. Um. What was we gonna do? Yes, North Kingdom. No, we wanted to do. We wanted to go here, North Kingdom. Bring back the PDF, I think. Yeah. So I'm gonna start the timer because it is got, and I'm going to count our work here as light edits by time, and I will hang on. Mute the Majiggy What's It because it is beeping at us, and um. Okay. So. Um. What was I doing? I was going to go into the PDF, yes, which I brought up on stream, yes, and then I'm going to do this. We're going to start by going. Okay, map layout, Chris, no, Kit, under her dead name, which I do have stuff I published under my dead name, and that is an interesting question of how do you do with that. Alexander James Adams says, well, he credits them to his alter ego, and he just says, well, her music is her music and my music is my music, and that stuff's mine too, but in a different way, and he still puts her name on it, kind of thing, which is one way to do it. He's also Alexander James Adams, by the way. You should go check out. He does fantasy music and is so much fun and whimsy and just like musical skill and something we need in the world right now. We need people like him in the world right now. Mm. But and that is neither here nor there. Exactly, it is more. Triumph. That's that's in. Huh. I don't think I ever made that either. That never got put. There's a lot of things I'm noticing. Oh yeah, I never put that in. Okay, so we're also going to have to do East Fair. I think what we're going to do is when we get to the end of the section, after we do all the people, we're going to go back and do East Fair then. That's my plan. So there's also stuff that's like interlaced in a way that you wouldn't necessarily think of when you're trying to do that. So Bellport, Bile Brine, Causeway of Fiends we did. Choke. We cleaned that up a little. It was basically a quote from the entire article on it, and I checked out a few unnecessary paragraphs at least to make it cleaner. And added an intro. Donegal, we did. Edgefield did. Yes, these are all towns. Highlander castles. We talked. I wish. The yes, we got I wish done as part of that. So Caport Caport Bay. Caport Bay is the most rugged of North Province's town. A whaling. Okay, 5,200. Okay, so that's a decent sized town. Okay, so first thing we do is start the stopwatch. Why stopwatch, you might ask? Well, because it's got, and, uh, oh, I'm Lee, by the way. I don't know if I did my standard, hi, I'm Lee, welcome to the stream, but hi, I'm Lee. I do that sometimes. I forget to, I kind of assume that most people coming in know me because, um, I am, very few people stumble across my stream. Usually it's, um, either they come in with raids or I end up as hand them like a business card and say, "Hey," at a con, and be like, "Hey, you should come watch my stream." Um, and then some of them come, some people came, or on another Discord server or something. But so I tend to forget. But yes, sometimes we have newbies. Hi, I'm Lee. Um, Also, the VOD does go up on Twitch, on YouTube. I'm trying to get better about that. So if you ever get bored and want to go and watch, you know, older episodes of me going my way through Greyhawk or miss it and are curious what I did one week, you can go and poke at them. The VODs are up on Twitch for a little bit, and most of them make it over to YouTube. Sometimes they do get deleted before I get to it, but there's also a whole archive of ones from earlier that I need to go about making public because they automatically went private, and I let them stay that way, and that it's not ideal, but that's okay. So, Kaport Bay. Right. We're gonna start the stopwatch. We're gonna do stuff. I already had the first ad break. We'll have another. I think I'm gonna do one specifically when the uh um um what was I gonna do? Yes, stopwatch. Yes. So start the stopwatch. We're gonna go and we're gonna read about Kaport Bay, and then we're gonna. Well, the first thing we're gonna do is check to see if Kaport Bay has a thing. Um, raid from North Kingdom. So it's listed as in various east of Kaport Bay, um, uh, Telcher. Oh, there's Temple de Telcher there apparently. But yes, so basically it's listed in a bunch of other articles that make passing mention of, hey, this also up in Port Bay, and whoever was writing those articles is like, someone eventually is gonna put a page about Port Bay. We'll put it in as a link, and um, that someone is me, and the time is now. So, first thing then is to go. I'm gonna put the PDF down in just a minute. That's how you see main page. You guys remember how we do this. Um, uh, um, um, let me. Okay, let me. Um, I just remembered that. Um, I remember that I forgot to put on my own Discord that we're going live. Don't forget. Alright, so yes, so I have to go and do that. Yay. Okay, so now that we do that, now that that's sorted, we can go to continue our work on that. So the town is Cuport, and then I make sure that I spell it right and don't spell bay with a K because that is Cuport. Okay. Because if you spell things wrong in the title, it is a lot harder to go back and fix things. Anything else you can fix relatively easily. Titles you need someone high up in the okay. So name. We're gonna do the very bare bone basics, and then realm, North Kingdom, population 5,200, give or take a bit. Is a coastal town, right? Let's see. A whaling station and fishing town. Now North Kingdom. Let me check. Actually, fun fact: you can do no source editing. We want that. Is there a no? There is a way to do it as a preview, but show preview. Here we go. Yes, North Kingdom does. Yeah, that's the only reason you would ever do a preview. It used to be that the preview would open in another tab. I think it does. Index. Go to editing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, now the North Kingdom, not now the North Kingdom. Okay. Let's see exactly where this is. Kaport Bay. Most rugged of the towns. Interesting. Also would be helpful to have. This is where we go. Here. Map. Yes. Okay. Ha. I know where to find the map. So somewhere around here is Belport. Kaport Bay. Where is Kaport Bay? It should be up here somewhere. High seaport, low seaport, Kaport Bay. Okay. Near seaport. Okay. Just to the east of Belport. On the northern coast, the Solinar Ocean. That is the Solinar Ocean. Yeah, yeah. Okay, northern coast, just to the west of Belport. Due west of Belport along the coast. Okay, that gives us some guidance on that. And then Mel's Guide to Greyhawk. That's the one that's 5th edition. I know Lord Gazuba's involved with it, and he said it's going to be good. He can't give too many details because he's still under a bunch of NDAs, but now that it's been announced, he can talk about it a little bit. I think it's going to be good. I hope it tries to capture a lot of the original, and it is kind of annoying that they changed some of the names. And I hope they, in the new Dungeon Master Guide, the 2024 Dungeon Master Guide, they changed some of the names, which is a little bit frustrating, but I think I think it could be good. The Northern Coast. The Northern Coast. Northern coast of what? Now the Solinar Ocean. The northern coast On the Solar Ocean, um, Solar Ocean, I always spell, I always spell, I always spell the ocean, I always spell it wrong, and I don't, let me see, that is not how you spell, no, and of course I can't, freaking go back. The thing about it is, why go chew. Okay, that I definitely screwed up something with that. Sonar. Okay, this is definitely in a really weird way, but okay, sure. Name settlement. Yeah, okay. Solar Ocean, and it's not labeled on the map. That is one of the things with this map is that. No, I don't need that. One of these things. This is Sonar. It's the Solar Ocean. What I did, I'll show you, is I just went and got the PDF and searched ocean, and because I know that because of the way the North Kingdom is situated, Solar Ocean is the one they talk about the most, so I figured, and I was right, that someone would put it there, so we can do Solar. I can, that's one of the Solar Ocean. Okay, on the Solar Ocean, due west of Bellport. Yes, Northern Coastal Ocean, due west of Bellport. Okay. Um, uh, um, um, also serves, uh, I, can we do that for whalers? Whalers. Okay, whaling station. What else we got? That's a good start, I think. And then we go, let's do this for now. Because what it'll do is it'll put here, and then it'll have all these empty sections. But we can then go back and figure out what we got. This is our beginning point. So yay. That's a start. And then what we can do is to put this down. Put the PDF up. Okay, I'm actually gonna keep that up. Either way. Let me go back to. Oh, it's Bellport. Interesting. Oh yeah, because it went. Go away. Yes, that's Bellport, which we talked about already, but that's because. But it's also on the Solar Ocean. Edgefield. Sonar. One of these days I'm going to get the ocean right and be like, ah yes, that ocean. That is the right ocean. Okay. Highlander Castles. Um I wish. Comport Bay. Okay. Uh Low and high Scarport. Okay, Scarport. We're gonna have to figure out what to do about whether we're gonna put Scarport as satellite villages. I don't know if we're gonna go with Scarport Los characteristic atmosphere. So 5,200 is for the Kaport Bay. I feel like Scarport is sort of like Cambridge or Somerville, where you're like, does it count as separate? Yes, it does, for legal purposes, and the people who live there very much count it as separate, but everyone else just lets it slide. Um, Hardy people with little time for frivolity or outsiders. They term themselves Portlanders and are proud of this. Flanblood is strong, and the Portlanders are no friends of Grenell and his court. Okay, don't like that. 3 stout war galleys protect its whaling fleet. Okay, it is a base operation for whalers. Not least against attacks of deep sea kraken. Okay, there's a kraken. Rarely raided here in the past, given their blood ties with the fair-haired Portlanders, and they do not do so now. Interesting, you're describing Portlanders as. We'll put a pin in that for now. Man's word is his bond. Unlike variants, few folk here are chaotic. Okay, so very lawful. Thieves are strung up on giblets, more or less on sight. Demi-humans are absent from the town and are relegated with curiosity and suspicion, as are all outsided. Okay, so this is entirely human. No one, everyone's. Okay, so Prince Enzen is nominal head of the Torcan house in this area, with many cousins and siblings ruling the coastal lands around Kaport Bay. Does not did not trust Enzen to give the seaport balance during the wars and had him made into an animus. Now Enzen plans to overthrow Ivid, but he has one obsession which confines him to his gloomy clifftop keep with his personal bodyguard of knights. Convinced that astrology is the only way to predict when and how Ivid can be overthrown. Interesting. He has become very reliant on a complete charlatan, Zwingel, who makes all manner of predictions pertaining to the Dancer of Swords in the heavens, Singing Sisters of Revenge in the constellation of Druid, and the like. Zwingel lives in luxury and continues to milk this for all it's worth. By sheer luck, he predicted one major storm, raiding and by confining the whaling vessels to port. An accident probably saved at least two or three large ships. Interesting. So he predicted a storm. They kept all the boats in port. There was a big storm, and therefore saved a bunch of. Okay, that is definitely someone was missed out on that ending pass because that is not. Okay. Um, no one's going to question his skills because he actually managed to. If they'd gone out, they would have been wrecked, and that's the thing. Okay. Um. Rarely emerges from his keep. Stonehound is grey and hardly possessed with excitement for those used to live, but does have singular and striking feature. Ooh. Centuries ago, a skilled enchanter worked with a dwarven architect to construct a set of sluices and wheels which channeled seawater high tide to complex apparatus which they have a desalination system. They have a freaking desalination. That is cool. Okay. Um, Providing drinking water and salt for export, and also raise the water through a permanent reverse gravity effect. Huh. Tumbling through a huge set of water wheels, the water now provides the motive force for an automated whale fencing. That is so cool. Okay, this is what I talk about when I say magic industry. This is incredible. Sorry, it's just cool. You know, this is how you marry the magic with the industrial. Like they have auto whale flensing, which I mean I wouldn't use it for whale flensing, but I mean it is a huge industry in the town, and that insert whales at one end, more or less, and the whale emerges separated into useful components: meat and blubber, blood and oil, bone, etc. At the other. Other coast towns have attempted to duplicate the strange machine. The ruins of a few of the less spectacularly unsuccessful attempts can be seen in Scarport villages. Ooh. Okay. So, so Scarport does not have any, have its own Vern. Yeah, Scarport does not have a. Okay, that's the personalities. Okay. Um, here's a question: Does Zwig Swiggle? Let me just check something. If shall stir third on Verminique. Let's see. Uh, Zebin. Um, Interesting. Uh, um, oh, he's living as female and living as a guy. Okay, that is an interesting question. We will come back to that in a minute. We'll come back to that in a bit. That is interesting. I don't know how we are gonna. Uh, that's gonna be an interesting one to put. But that's okay. So, point being, because the charlatan soothsayer does not have his own page. Zwingle. Okay, so let's go. So Zwingle does not have his own page. So Zwingle does not have his own page. That means that we can go here, and it might take more than a day to do this whole thing. But Zwingle, let's see, cityscape, travel. Okay, let's go here. So first thing we're gonna do is human, because it is all decidedly all human. I'm gonna put human with capital H. History, geography, city, travel. I'm gonna take travel out because we don't think we're gonna need it. I don't. Demographics would be if there were separate groups, but the carp. I'm gonna say heavy flame blood ties to the barbarians. We're gonna put some of that in there, but we're not gonna do much with that. But I don't think they have language is anything. Religion, nothing mentioned in here, but I'm gonna put a pin in that for now. Because apparently they have a temple, and we might have to look that up from the other article and then cite whatever source they cited. Government heraldry. I don't. Doesn't mention heraldry. Okay, so there's. Okay, so that brings us down. Okay, cityscape. The town is mostly the dull. Is mostly dull, built of stone and without much in the way of entertainment. One of the few exceptions, the main exception to this is there are two main exceptions to this. Because the desalination and the whale cleansing are two separate functions, and they might have the same, still have this stew machines. Um, okay, so I think the one is the desalination running water wheel thing. The other is the whale cleanser that is run with power from the water wheels. I think is what we're getting. So, two notable exceptions to this. Two, which are interconnected. We'll say that they're interconnected, and then yes. So we're gonna put the um, two exceptions, which are uh, connected. The first is a series of lifts, including reverse gravity spell. Let's see. It's two. Is reverse? Did they? Next question. Did they capitalize the spell name? Yes. Hardly possession of enchantment for this. Yeah, it doesn't have anything really exciting or interesting. One singular and striking feature. So they count it as one, but I'm guessing there are two because it based on the way it's described, it's two interconnected ones. I mean, you could count the whole apparatus as one. So, um, set of sluices and wheels which channel seawater at high tide. No complex apparatus which desalinates the water. And also raised the water through a permanent reverse gravity effect. Reverse gravity being lowercase. The water now provides, so it raises the water up the sluice and wheels to do desalination, and then sends it back down through water wheels, which power the whale cleansing machine, essentially. Um, that's kind of cool. Okay, so let's see now. It's a new permanent reverse gravity spell. Um, sluices. Um, 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 high tide and desalinate. Oh, I think so. Actually, that they do the whale cleansing. I think we're probably going to do trade and resources because that is a thing. It doesn't specify where they export them to though, which is interesting. But they do export salt and drinking water, um, which is interesting. This is in wheels. Add high tide complex apparatus to salinate the water. Also raise the water through permanent risk. Okay. Um, motive force for an automated whale cleansing apparatus. Okay, yes. So the motive force for that. Um, uh, and exported. Part of yeah, part of which is exported. Exported. Yes. Some of which. Yes, they export that. I'm gonna imagine some of that. Um, let's see. Some of which is exported. Salt drinking water. High tide. Yes. Okay. So high tide is two words. The second um is an whale flensing. Whale. Okay, let's see. How do you spell whale flensing? That is a good question. How do you spell flensing? Flensing. Wait, Flensing. Flensing. Okay, I spelled it right. It's just it doesn't like the word. Okay, fair. App. Okay, so app. There we go. Whale flensing apparatus. The apparatus that is a um, uses the water wheels of for as a motive force, and whales are one end, and because you can't just put a whale into a thing. Like there's a lot of whale carcasses are enormous. It requires a lot of like you put the whale in, okay, yeah, but the putting a whale into anything is gonna be tricky. Now it, even with the difficulty of getting a whale into whatever this apparatus is, it's 10 times easier than doing the whole thing manually. But it's still a piece of work. Like um, moving a stereo system uh, onto the truck is still manual labor, even if you have a conveyor belt that takes it across. You still have to. There's still a lot of maneuvering involved. As someone who personally does that, you know. But yeah. Anyway, I think maneuver is a better word for that. Because of the way whale carcasses work. The um, one end. Uh, I'm gonna put that as a, you know what we're gonna use a semicolon. I think that's best. Anyway, sorry. And use the components. Uh, blubber, blood, flesh and bone. Not the other end. Uh, uh, um, I think we're gonna do one Scarport. I think what we're gonna do, um, as one, and it's gonna be the minimalist page. And it's just gonna be there's high Scarport, low Scarport, and they are and have the root. Yeah, I think that might be like glorified redirect to Carport Bay, Caport Bay. I really, really want to say Carport Bay, but it's Caport Bay. Um, I think that's how we're gonna use Carport. As like, I think that's gonna be solid. Yes, okay. Um, okay. I do not need to see transition. Thank you. Why does it want me to? Okay, it's a whole window that. No, stop. Uh, okay, there we go. Got it to go away. Thank you. Now, Discord. Okay, so, um, bone. Yes. Okay. Yep. Breaks it down into the, yes. All right. So, perfectly separated. has been able to um, um, uh, by um, skilled enchanter working with a dwarven architect. I uh, enchanter, dwarven architect, dwarven will not be recognized. I would have thought they would recognize flensing, but apparently not. The machine, the apparatus. Mm, Um, um, okay. So, um, that's that. Okay. So the um, I did not know that I was going to be talking about a whale cleansing apparatus today, but you know what? It's kind of cool. So there's that. But, okay, now notable individuals. I'm gonna keep religion there, but I think population. Let's take the population because it's already written. So we're gonna take the population out of there, and we're gonna unless we could take. Okay, hang on. Let's go edit source. What are we? Let me take this one out. Hidden resources. I think we can. Um, I think we can take trade and just do it down to resources. Um, so it doesn't specify. Um, let's see. Um, if it. Let's see. Um, um, it doesn't specify what they might trade, who they might trade with. So I'm gonna say resources, and then we'll mention that it's trade goods. There's legends. They got heraldry because there doesn't seem to be any. Um, okay. Then removed. I don't think there's much in the way of geography. Um, uh, history. I might leave that out too. Government, religion. Okay. I tend to go. I like to do this in stages. When I just so that the notes. Hi, Kit. Welcome. I didn't see you in there. Hello. Welcome on in. Um, I have been going about this whale flensing apparatus. So apparently, Port Bay has a which is there's a dwarven architect and an enchanter, and they work together to build this. It's a series of sluices that act as both water desalination and because they have reverse gravity as the spell, it powers water wheels going back down, and that power or as creates the motive force for what's called a whale flensing apparatus, which basically just takes a whale and strips it down into bone, separating out the bone and the blubber and the flesh and all that. Just and no one has ever been able to do it otherwise. This is it's cool. Greyhawk has some wild lore, and I think that's really cool. So yes, it has a whale flensing apparatus. So we've been kind of working on that. I just took out. Are we? Yes, I just took out several extra sections that I don't think we're gonna be able to fill. Um, because it mentions that they have trade. They have whales. They've fishing fleet where they do whaling. They have salt and drinking water, which they do export, but it doesn't specify where they trade it to. So I'm going to put that under resources instead of having trade and resources as separate sections. I might take out geography too, because it doesn't seem like there's anything more than it's on the coast and the bay kind of curls in. Um, I think we can that in the main section. Um, Interesting. Oh yes, and they also have dubious about Grenell, which is interesting. Let's see. And at Anzen, I believe is how you say the prince, but we're gonna talk about that. I'm going bit by bit. You know how I work. We do section by section, and let's see, cityscape. Um, so that's the Scarport is interesting. I think we're gonna have a very small page about that, but we're gonna leave that for now. What I was going to do was go to the notable individual section. Is here we go. So because this is our main notable individual who does not have his own page. Because Anzen we can put in as, we can put a link to his page. This guy does not have one. So Zwingal. Zwingal, who is a charlatan, although he did actually predict a storm, so maybe he has some predictive powers, but he is mostly a charlatan. Zwingal is a yes, two Prince and then end. Two ends at the end, right? Is it two ends in the? Let's see, and two ends at the end. Okay, one end, two ends, and Zen, and Zen. Okay. Yes, and we're gonna up because you don't usually put the titles in the names. So we're gonna do that. He does take the title of Prince. A lot of people in Greyhawk take the title of Prince, who in uh, other settings or systems probably would not take the title of Prince, but it's a title that gets thrown around a lot to a lot of people, including a lot of petty princelings is what the term they use, because they're just they don't have like principalities or anything, but they've got small chunks of land, like barely more than a baron or whatever, but they get the title prince. Um, Titles. So there's that. Um, oh yes, so he got made into an. Oh yes. Um, who is astrology, a specialist in astrology and mostly a charlatan. Um, an expert, self-proclaimed. Proclaim. Proclaim. Okay, so proclaim. No, that is not. Yes, proclaimed. Yeah. Okay, so self-proclaimed. This is an interesting way of using Baltic to your advantage. Expert in astrology. And who is, for the most part, charlatan. Um, and he did predict one particularly nasty storm. Nasty storm, and is held in high esteem. Held in high esteem. Uh, 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 um, saved would have most certainly been wrecked if they had gone out. Yes, I did predict astrology. Yes, that's his thing. Oh, I should probably be adding site source books. That would be a useful thing to do. Let's let's see. Da-da-da. Um, uh, so I I think we're gonna quote this because I think that would be this is a good place for a quote. Okay. It is. Um, um, mm, is that? Um, I think the question is I don't remember. Um, I think what we can do. Let's strip it down to that. I think that's enough. We can get away without making it a block quote. Um, 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 da-da. Let's see. Paste. Hmm. Revenge and the constellations and the like. Yes. And then site source book. Vivid. And what page did we take that from? It is all on the same page, which is 56, except for the map, which should be cited as page 27. But we can go back and put a citation in for that. That, and quote, yes. Outside the periods, because that, yep, inside the quotations. Okay. Um, his, carry great. Prince with Prince X. Who supports him in jury. Yep. Okay. So he did that. Blah blah blah. Yes. He's. And then we're going to. Also comes from there. Yeah. Yes. And then we're gonna do. Did predict the storm. We don't need 100, but vivid. Yeah, one because the quote is from specifically Ivid, and then one for before and one for both. Yeah, I think that's enough. Okay. Um. Yep, that's about it. Okay. Um. Yeah. The reason I'm leaving the religion section open is I'm going to Daz. Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Sorry I didn't see you there. That Daz is showing is the House Sarapata logo. We're working on by time, so I got to keep going with this. But um, essentially, we are um, editing the um, um, yeah, um, yes, yes. The prince was turned into an animus. I feel like we should mention that at some point here. Um, uh, uh, okay, during the Greyhawk Wars. We could put that in the history section. Yeah. Um, the Overking. We're gonna put the Overking. But yes. Um, yes. Um, yes. I'm working too. What we're doing, is we're editing the Greyhawk wiki, which is our thing. Oh, but I did want to briefly. We can pause the stopwatch. We can pause for this, but brief explanation for this. Yep. This is the House Sarapata logo. You could see Dad put it in the chat. I am also the librarian of House Sarapata, which means that tomorrow I'm going to be working on House. Actually, I probably should be doing my taxes tomorrow. But I'm also going to be working on a little bit the House Sarapata library. I'm going to be working on Darth. Um, a major. Oh, major operation, yes. So the Greyhawk Wiki is an entirely major operation. It is a huge production. I can run by Kit, who is up here in the chat somewhere. She's hanging out in chat too. Um, yes, I do. That's why I have the stopwatch. I'm counting it as light edits by time is what I've been counting as, because 90% of it is just, does the link work? Hang on, we should, go back and remember to put, did I tell his name right? Does the link work? That's 90% of what I do. But yes, I have a stopwatch. I paused the stopwatch for a brief announcement of how awesome Got is. Um, why? Oh, I spelled Greyhawk wrong. There we go. That is a link to the wiki. If you ever want to know anything about Greyhawk, which is the one of the first Dungeons and Dragons settings, some people say Blackmoor's the first one, but Blackmoor's, I think they integrated it, so technically, it is one created by Gary Gygax himself. He started with Castle Zagig, and then Greyhawk around it, and then uh, yeah, Castle Greyhawk, which was made by Zagig, um, and then the city of Greyhawk around it, and then the free city of Greyhawk and the kind of league of associated towns and cities, and the Great Kingdom which they had broken off from, and it is like the Landgrafdom of the Celatine, I think, was the original historical title, and then Hardby kind of got folded into that during the Greyhawk Wars, and basically it started with that, and then spread out over the Flanaess, which is a region of the world, a chunk of, a large chunk, like a what's the technical term? I would say like a subcontinent almost, and is a region full of political machinations, rivalries, political machinations, interesting magical sites. It even has a whale flensing apparatus, which apparently no one can replicate, but this one town in Port Bay has a, yeah, yeah, exactly. There's tons of modules. Hamlet is in Voluna, which is in Greyhawk, or in the Flanaess. It's Worth, I think, is the planet what it's called. But yeah, uh, I I think it's pretty big, and it's getting bigger every day. Like Kaport Bay didn't exist, and now it does, and um, you know, fair, reasonably big as far as wikis go. Exactly, a little bit at a time, and then the prince gets a page, and this gets a page, that gets a page. We've been doing this, chugging along at it. Um, uh, Eventually, maybe by the end of the year, we'll be done with all the stuff in Ivid. Maybe. Um, yes. Probably about his brooding. Not small by any means, no. And but I am a tiny cog in the machine of a lot of editors who do great work on this. and who have undertaken the project, and the indexers who are hugely helpful, and a lot of stuff. We've been doing that, and Greenkeep, and okay, I had to end up the kerfuffle with that, and then Gross and Grottle and Anna. Well, half the time we're citing Anna's maps. Like a lot of her maps end up on the wiki. Who is I'm gonna shout her out too. Just um uh just as a because Anna B. Meyer is really cool, and I got to see her at briefly at GaryCon. I didn't go to any of her talks, but I got to see her at GaryCon, which was kind of cool. She makes all of the maps and heraldry and stuff that is just beautiful. She's just cool. She's a professionally trained cartographer and is just awesome sauce. And actually, if I'm gonna link Anna, we're gonna have a little Anna appreciation break. Um, this is huh. That's her maps aren't technically canon, but oh, she's doing a seminar stream. Those are fun sometimes to go to. But yes, it still works. Easy Doom is kind of removing support, but for now, this one still works, right? Still work. Hopefully, it still works. Otherwise, we're gonna have to bust out the Atlas, and the Atlas is really cool, but it works better as a book. I have the PDF version, and she does, but it really is designed to be like a Rand McNally, where you have a physical volume and you can like leaf through it. I guess the Easy Zoom doesn't work so well anymore, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Hey, it does. Yeah, but since we're here, this is where, let's see, Kaport Bay is up here. No, that's too far up. Wait, hang on, that is the wrong ocean. Right? Because, no, it is the right ocean. Green Deep Bay, okay. Yeah, this is the Solinar Ocean up here, and then we got up here, we have Isle of Lost Souls, okay, but High Scar, okay, so Bellport, so Port Bay, interesting. Um, that's an interesting, because I'm going to have to put Scarport, because we're going to put Scarport on, we're going to make a page for that, I think. But if High Scarport's north and Low Scarport's south, that might be interesting. Port Bay. But yes, this is the area you're talking about, and it's pretty much due west. The shapes. That's the thing is sometimes it conflicts a little bit with the shape, but she always freaking labels the oceans and the rivers, which the map, at least the map in Ivid, does not label the oceans, the forests, the rivers. So you see the river, and it's like, well, which river is this? I don't know. And then you go to the section and be like, okay, so it's on this river. Okay, so that's this river, and it just labels the rivers on the map, which is very helpful. But yes, that is Anna Be My Appreciation. Okay. But yes, that is Kaport Bay here. Yes, that is. So it doesn't really mention much about Scarport in the book. I was gonna, it mentioned that they are satellite. Yeah, no, they are satellite villages. To that, High Scarport and Low Scarport. Um, there's very little information on them here, other than they're satellite villages, and both of them have tried to build like a apparatus to do the whale cleansing, like the one in Kaport Bay proper, and have both failed. And they have wrecks of attempts you can find. But other than that, not much on them. Um, I was gonna do High Scarport and Low Scarp. I'm gonna have to do them separate, and just do like I was gonna do like a mini like a stub for each, or I was gonna do one stub and then, but maybe I'll do two stubs, High Scarport and Low Scarport, and just talk about their small town near Kaport Bay, a little to the north or to the south, north or south. Um, Let me check something. Let's see. Here's this. I want to check. Let me go to map. There we go. This map, which is the um, this one is yeah, Kaport Bay is down here, and High Scarport, Low Scarport, so it's one on each side. Here, I'll show you guys the map. So this map is officially canon. Anna's map is more detailed and, in fact, um, but is not officially canon. So you kind of have to bell it. But it gets used as references a lot because it's pretty. And I never did ask her about the freaking coach keep roads. Anyway, all right. So looks like Twitch wants to run an ad. In fairness, I could use a break. So what we're gonna do? I already paused it to do an appreciation. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna take a bit of a bio break, and I will put Addy up, and then we will restart the timer after. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. Damn it. Okay. I need to do day job soon. So here's how we're gonna do this. Um, I'm gonna. Oh, excellent. Good words, Daz. Good job. Okay. If any of you are doing writing or editing work during this, you can report it. I'm gonna go. I think what we're gonna do is it's too late to snooze it. So, I'm gonna take a stretch break. Um, and then I'm going to come back for a little bit. Then we will start the stopwatch again, finish at least the paragraph we were working on, and then we will. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take a quick stretch break. We're gonna come back, finish the paragraph, then do an outro. It's gonna be a little janky, but if Twitch ever does the ad, actually puts the ad in place. In which case, let me start the stopwatch for a little bit. Briefly, but then you gotta see. Oh, of course. Yep. Okay. All right. All right. Let me. Okay. Lord. What? All right, I'm back. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So wow, that took a lot longer than I thought. All right. So back. Let me go here. I'm gonna start the stopwatch, and we're gonna go to here, and I'm gonna do a last minute adjustments. So what I'm gonna do is finish this little paragraph here. Um, Prince. Animus. I think there's a page on what constitutes an animus. Um, Greyhawk Wars. I know there are. Greyhawk Wars has a Y in it. And Greyhawk Salt. But at least I spelled it right. Okay. Um, thus his plotting his revenge. This, but that's why I don't like historical present, because you can't. That's the thing about historical present, is that it's hard to create a timeline of, well, okay, this is when he was plotting against revenge here, but then it then succeeded. I don't know what happened. Began to plot his revenge. But was uh, um, 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 uh, um, yeah, I think that's a pretty good overview of how it went down. And then cite our source. And then added notes in history. Okay, that one. Okay, so beautiful. That is a good start, I think. Um, and I want to check one other thing, which is the temple of. Okay, that's the map. I want to go to Green Key, Highlander Castles, 56. Yeah. Okay, Port Bay. Yes, and it's on the same page. Okay. His keep, Bodyguard Knight. Astrology is a only way to predict it. Yes. Um. Singular striking. Oh, right. So that's the on the page with that. No, what I wanted to do was go to Port Bay. Search. Um. Okay. Search. Port Bay text matches. Right. So. Um. Journal Sport. Um. Interesting. That is interesting because it says, okay, North Kingdom, Causeway of Fiends, Telcher. Um, 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 um. Oh, apparently, it once contained. They don't cite a source directly, but so, uh, Ivid. Um, okay, let's see if Ivid says anything about, it's, um, so they cite Ivid as a source. Let me see if anything in here, because that's an interesting question. Let me check the PDF right now. This is an interesting question. So, this is where it gets interesting because they say there's a temple that took Telcher in Tarport Bay that was torn down, in 246. Okay, and that's not, doesn't specify it wasn't. Let me go back to here just briefly and then go to the page on Telcher. Okay, so there's no mention by name of Telcher in Ivid the Undying, despite claiming Ivid as a source. Although I need to, hang on. Let me check something. I gotta do something here real quick. Um, so I that doesn't mean that the thing with Temple didn't happen, but it is an interesting way uh to cite that if it didn't um I just think it's interesting to cite that in the page about Telcher when there's no mention of him in the whole thing. Um okay, we're gonna have to put a pin in that for now because I need to do a bunch of stuff. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put a pin in that. Okay. First thing I'm gonna do is blah, um Iridian worship. That's true. Okay, that's a distinct possibility. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go back to here. We're gonna swap out that so you can see what we're doing here. Telcher. Oh yes. So temples in Port Bay. I don't know if that is that, but we're going to go into bibliography before I forget. Do this and make sure I didn't. Yep, that's you do that sometimes. If it's the last source, you make sure you only get the index once. So that's the. Yep, that is a distinct possibility. Okay, I will leave it in that one then. Bibliography, yes, citation to Carl's added, citations here. Okay. Um, I think that is going to be it for today. Yeah, it's pushing 3:15. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna. Let's see. I'm going to. No, stop. Hang on. 51. Okay, so 51 minutes. I'm gonna say 50 minutes. I'm gonna make it even 50 minutes because I know. Um, yes, that is true. I don't know which though, and that's gonna be the tricky part. So, um, that is for another day. But we did Kaport Bay. Next week on Wednesday, I will finish Kaport. I will go back and do more Kaport Bay. We'll go back and figure out a few other things. Then we'll probably go to, figure out what we're going to do about Scarport. I'm thinking two stubs, one for High Scarport, one for Low Scarport. Might work, and then both of which redirect to Scarport Bay, and then talk a little about, you know, their connection. Um, just a little geography. This is one to the east, this is one to the west. It's higher, lower. A little bit about yeah, I think what we're gonna do is, or we can do one page and mention High Scarport and Low Scarport and the difference between them. Um, Either way, we're gonna do at least one stub, maybe two, and then link back to Port Bay and talk a little about the geography. I think that's the way to do it. Um, um, okay, sounds fun. Okay, so bring out your words. Bring out your words. Bring out your words. This is important. If you are highlight, yes. I, fun fact, have infinite channel points, infinite vibe points, because I'm me. Bring out your words. So, if that's the what we're gonna do, excellent. 50, I think was the original tally. That yeah, it was the start. I think it was 51, but I did start and stop it a little much. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna do 51 because I also that brings us 700. Yeah, 765. Okay, so I um very slightly. That's the thing about the thing is 765. Okay. Yep, that's it. Boom. So there's that. Yeah. So excellent. Sarapata got lots of words. It's 1,000 words for Sarapata between us. High five. Okay. So, if any of you are writing and editing during this and you want to join in, you can simply report your words. But whatever house you report your words for, you have to report for that house for the entire tournament for all of April. You're pledged in to whichever house, and then you can join the Discord and figure out which. Uh yes. Oh, I see. Okay, but um oh yeah. So if you were editing during and you want during the stream and you want to report your words, now's your chance. Otherwise, we're gonna go rating into whom you might ask. Well, let's see. Um, I think Sable's on. Sable or Wordy. Wordy was on. Before when I started. So Wordy or Sable. Who else? It's on. Start Liam's on, but we're doing got Lady Winter. We could. Jamie's on, but oh yeah, Sable's on. Okay, we are rating into Sable. Sable is an author and head of GOT, and just generally cool. You should all also a fan of Greyhawk. So, her husband, definitely does that. So, DMs in Greyhawk. So, and she was in my Thirsty Sword Lesbians Greyhawk stream. Okay, take care of yourselves. Remember your meds. Remember to hydrate. All that jazz. Um, I will see you all tomorrow for Game of Tomes wiki updates, and off we trot. Let's go. Ready?